make it in. Tough series with the Flyers. All of a sudden, Stanley Cup final. Heartbreaking finish, but they were there. Last year, the Tampa Bay Lightning set the record for most points in a season. They had the same amount of playoff victories as the Ottawa Senators, who were the worst team in the league last year, when they got swept by the 8th seed Columbus Blue Jackets. Anything can happen. It's way too early. We start making our predictions come quarterfinals.
Mike, predictions or too early to tell?
Wait for the play-in round to be over. We still don't know the top 4 seeds. We don't know who's playing who in the actual first round. Too early.
All right, final question here. 3 weeks away from the biggest debate in sports hit list history, Team Ray or Team Carl? Mike, who you going?
Carl, I'll go Team Carl.
All right. Andrew, Team Ray or Team Carl?
I'll be honest with you, man. I've been putting podcasts together. I got to catch up on the whole Team Ray, Team Carl.
Chuck, who you going? Team Ray or Team Carl?
Even though I like Ray, I've done a Zoom with him before. He's a really nice guy, and I appreciate his sports takes. Carl, you have been my boy since St. Francis, so I got to stick with you.
I appreciate
Ray,
that.
I'm sorry, but I got to stick with Carl.
I appreciate that, gentlemen. I love you guys. We'll talk soon, and thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, we're going to transition now to the NBA. You're watching the Sports Hit List live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Let me bring in my NBA team. Here we go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about the legacy and the life of Vince Carter. Let's see. Is Andrew still in here? And there he goes. Let's see with my NBA team. Andres, can you hear me, bro?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
How you doing, Mr. Numbers?
Doing amazing.
Love the shirt, man. Mike, the Pastor Miller is in the building. Mike, can you hear me, my brother?
What's up, my brother?
How's everything going?
Everything is amazing. Everything is lovely, man.
And we have the resident coach, Coach Walmack. Coach, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Blessed to be here. Talk some basketball.
So Vince Carter, after 3 decades of playing in the NBA, decided it's finally over for Vince Carter. What's Vince Carter's legacy? That's the conversation to close out the show today on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network Live. So let's start off with Coach. The legacy of Vince Carter. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we all know the greatest in-game dunker to ever play in the NBA. The greatest performance I've ever seen in terms of an NBA dunk contest. I think his performance statistically, just dunk-wise, is better than Jordan's, Dominique's performance if we're just looking at dunks. For legendary status, what Jordan did and what Dominique and what those guys did, it'll always remain in history, just like anything else in history. But what Vince Carter did, just looking at the dunks, never seen anything better. We will never see anything like it ever again in the game. A legend and one of the most underrated three-point shooters we've ever seen in terms of a superstar that doesn't get credit for that, his craft in that. So those are my thoughts.
Mr. Numbers, Andres, what are your thoughts on Vince Carter's legacy in the game?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me once again, Carl. I appreciate you. Shout out to Mike Miller. Shout out to Coach. Vince Carter is the greatest in-game dunker of all time. His longevity speaks volumes as to who he was. In the later years, accepting a role to come off the bench. Not a lot of players like to come off the bench, but Vince Carter was a superstar in the early 2000s, matching up against Allen Iverson in the playoffs. And in the later years, when he hit 33, 34 years old, he was like, you know what? It's time for me to come off the bench. And he accepted that role, and he did it well. So shout out to Vince Carter.
Mike, where does Vince Carter's legacy in the NBA?
Legend. Vince Carter is a legend. Like, to me, I rank Vince really, really high. I forgot what year it was, Carl, when we was talking about Vince Carter and if he was going to be a Hall of Famer. To me, first ballot Hall of Famer, his legacy. And as I echo all these gentlemen's sentiment, especially what Max said about an underrated three-point shooter. I think he's 6th all-time in three-pointers made. So Vince, to me, is a legend. And one of the memories when I was even just thinking about this is when in 2001 during the Eastern Conference Finals, the man goes and gets his degree and then plays a Game 7. To me,
I think he had 40. He had like 40 too, right?
To me, no, him and AI had a bad game. Yeah. But But to me, that was phenomenal. And before the game, like, as I was watching an interview and they was asking him, like, he was like stoic, and they was asking him how you feel about, getting ready to play a game 7. Because, all the speculation was, well, you're not taking the game seriously enough. But he like, listen, I had 2 great accomplishments. He got his degree in Afro-American studies. How important is that right now? Shout out to Mr. Numbers with that shirt. So, like, Vince to me is legend, man. Only a legend could do something like that. So, and his sneakers were fire. So, yeah.
A lot of players. Go ahead, Coach.
I was going to say he was the first NBA player to really put and one on the map. We forgot about and one basketball. I remember and one was big on the streets. We all know Skip to Malou,
Yes,
in those days, and Rafer Alston was the first of many legends, to come through from that era. But Vince Carter was the first NBA superstar to wear and one sneakers, and that was big at that time for the hood. I was for the hood right there.
Yes, sir.
A lot of fans say that we didn't see the very best of Vince Carter. They felt like Carter could have gave a lot more to the game than he did. Is that a false narrative, Coach?
I mean, we got to look, his knees started to deteriorate a little bit in his career. That's why he transformed more into a shooter. But I think, maybe it was from 99 to 03. I forget the years, but he was a top, 10 player, top 5 to 10 player in the league for a good, substantial part of his career. He was a number 1 option. You got to understand that at that time in the game, rarely did stars get paired with other superstars or 2 or 3 other superstars. So it's not like every year you could be a perennial contender. I think, could he have reached that apex of being the number 1, 2 guy? I mean, anytime you're compared to Michael Jordan and you don't reach that level, somebody's going to say you didn't quite reach your peak because they said he was baby Jordan. But, we all know what happened to the real baby Jordan. But I think Vince gave us what he gave us. His longevity speaks volumes, and his gracefulness in bowing out when he was no longer a star speaks to the kind of man he is. Not a lot of people can do what him and Dirk Nowitzki did in terms of bowing out at the end of their careers.
Mike, is that a false narrative that Vince didn't give us his 110% on the court?
Absolutely false. And I think it's partially what Coach Mack said, because it's the whole narrative. He went to UNC. He's a high jumper. And at that time, anybody that jumped high and played the wing, they compared him to Jordan. Every single person. And then the other piece is his contemporaries, Kobe, AI, and at the time, Ray Allen. And so Kobe is Kobe. He's like a champion, all of these things. And everybody looks at Vince's career in comparison to his contemporaries. The same thing with Carmelo Anthony. Like, if you remove Carmelo Anthony from being in the draft class with LeBron James and you just look at his numbers and some of the accomplishments, that's an automatic Hall of Famer. But you put it in the context with LeBron and D Wade, and then it looks like, man, he didn't live up to his potential. So it's the same thing with Vince, where we got greatness out of Vince. I think it was from his second season to 08, 09, 11 seasons, he was averaging 24. So Vince was a great, great player, great scorer. It's just when you get that Jordan stamp on you, baby Jordan, and then you get the contemporaries around you do so great, like Kobe and AI, and he never won it, and Vince never won the MVP. It's like these certain accolades, it knocks you down. But I respect Vince, and I think he gave us what we needed to see. We got greatness from him.
Let me go to the numbers guy, Andres, who a walking statistic, this guy. Where does Carter rank with his numbers? Should his numbers have been better? Could have been worse? What are your thoughts overall on his numbers?
I mean, in the last 4 or 5 years, I think 4, 5, 6, or 7 years, he came off the bench and, he was still able to finish his career with 25,000 points. How many players in their NBA career can say that they scored like 25,000 plus points? Also, back to what Mike Miller was saying, he gets shadowed because of like the era he played in, playing next to guys like Ray Allen and Kobe, rest in peace. It's the same thing with stars like nowadays. Like, for example, they're already crowning Zion Williamson as the next LeBron James. I don't think players want to come out of high school or college with that pressure of living up to like the next great player. I don't think Luka Doncic wants to get compared to LeBron every day or Magic Johnson for the triple doubles. I think we should, like in today's NBA, we should just let players play and adjust to the game and do what they need to do. So with Vince playing in an era where Ray Allen was a 20-point per game shooter, playing in an era where sometimes Shaq fouled out and Kobe Bryant had to take the load. He didn't get that luxury of playing with like another superstar. So I think Vince Carter is properly rated in the era that he played in and who he played with.
Well, to piggyback off what you said, not playing with another star, he did play with Jason Kidd. And was Vince still in his prime when he got to the Nets, or was he past that? And he still gave the Nets a fighting chance there in the Eastern Conference. Coach?
I mean, yeah, he partnered up, but that was a little bit after his injury started to take his toll. Like, the injuries really hit him. He became, to make his career, I think the injuries actually helped him in the longevitiness of his career, because he became a better spot shooter and became a good three-point shooter. Talking about a guy, imagine Jordan shooting 37% from three. Right. Imagine Dominique Wilkins shooting 37% from three. Not a lot of high-jumping athletes can do that, but T-Mac, we all know what happened. That was the crucial point. If T-Mac would have decided to stay, we're talking about Vince Carter's legacy way differently than T-Mac deciding to go to Orlando.
Mike, he did partner up with Jason Kidd, and he still was able to help them get through some playoffs runs. Was that his peak, or did his peak end after he left Toronto?
I agree with what Coach Mack just said. It was those injuries started to happen, and that knee started to get hurt. I think he had already had the microfracture surgery once he went to the Nets. So from then it was a precipitous decline. Again, he still was able to maintain his 20. And like Coach was saying, he still had his jump shot, but he never got that opportunity. And what kind of cousin is that, T-Mac? You're going to leave your cousin. So if they had stayed together, anything could happen, because T-Mac, look at his career. We could look at his career and say, man, we always talk about if Grant Hill was healthy in Orlando, what would T-Mac have had? Now it's both of them. You should have just stayed with your cousin. They probably have fight the barbecue about that. But no, I think he was still a serviceable star player, but the superstar, like, he wasn't at that level anymore. That effect that he had, he wasn't there anymore. But he helped them, and they did have Richard Jefferson. They played a little bit with each other. So, but Jason Kidd, was Jason Kidd really a starter? We ain't gonna get into that.
Listen. We know what you believe. You believe Mike Bibby's better than Jason Kidd, so that's another debate, right, Mike?
No, we're not gonna do that today.
That's what he said. No, he opened the can of worms. You opened the can of worms when you said that. You did say that.
Hold on. Listen, let me clarify. I'm not gonna clarify that. I said what I said.
Hold on, Cole. Hey, listen, Mike.
I said what I said.
Mike, you gotta speak your mind.
Go ahead.
I said what I said.
Go ahead, Coach. Coach, what's up?
Was Vince Carter better than Paul Pierce?
Listen.
That's fair to talk about.
Listen.
Now you be honest and tell the truth.
Was Vince Carter better than Paul Pierce? And
I like that,
the
man.
championship.
Listen. How are we flipping narratives and asking me questions now? What's up with that?
Because
answer the question. Answer the question. I like that.
Listen. Okay. Vince Carter was better. I will say that. Vince Carter was better on the scale of his, number one, his popularity. He was a lot popular than Paul Pierce. He's more flashier than Paul Pierce, more versatile, able to finish better than Paul. So from that regard, I say he's better than Paul Pierce. As far as scoring-wise, I would say it's neck and neck, because Paul Pierce is an underrated scorer and people don't give him
Hold on, Andreas. Let us know the numbers. I know you got them. You shaking your head now.
So was this a setup? This was a setup. I have a feeling this was a setup.
That was it. He set the trap.
You guys set me up. You see, I fell right into the trap. I walked right into the trap. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Andres. Give them to me. Go ahead.
I think Paul Pierce is very underrated defensively. I think he was a better defender than Vince. I think that's like underlooked on both sides of the ball. As far as offensively, Vince could be flashier and all of that, but Paul Pierce was a better scorer and a more efficient scorer than Vince was. So I can't give the edge to Vince on that. I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir. I
appreciate it. I wasn't setting you up, man. I was literally just asking.
Which is a legitimate question. And that was a great
question.
Mac. That was great.
But Mike, answer the question. What are your thoughts? Pierce and Pierce compared to Carter?
It's tough, man, because the thing is, there's going to be a sort of a recency bias, because we did see Paul Pierce at sort of the apex. He beat LeBron and Kobe. So that's why your man be poking his chest out. They beat. But we know. Hold on. We know how this goes. Hold on, fellas. We know how this goes. Hold on. We know how this goes. the Boston Celtics beat the Cleveland Cavs, and the Boston Celtics beat the Lakers. Cool. But the reason why Paul Pierce talks so spicy like he does is because he went head-to-head against LeBron and head-to-head against Kobe, the two guys who were at the time the best players in the league, and he got the best of both of them. So when you talk about Vince,
got the best. The team got the best.
No, I'm talking about yes.
Nah.
Technically,
Paul Pierce,
it was team, but individual matchups. I'm just saying. I'm getting into the mind of the truth.
I like it.
His mindset was, bro, I went against the two best players in the league, and my team came out on top, and I did my numbers. So when you think about Vince doesn't have that on his resume to say he went against the two best in the league and he went in 2001. He dropped 50 on AI, but AI 6 feet, Vince is 6. All I'm saying is, I'm rolling with Double P for that one. Just
Coach. Okay. Andres, I'm going to get to you. Coach, where do you stand on that debate, Pierce or Vince Carter?
It's close.
To answer your own question.
It's very close. I do agree with Andres, and Paul Pierce's defense and his grit is super underrated in terms of a player. Yeah. I think regardless of Kevin Garnett, even anybody or Ray Allen, when you came to that team, you had to match Paul Pierce's intensity. And he had that grit. He set that leadership role from the very beginning, so it's easy for those other stars to adjust. I think offensively, the numbers may be higher for Paul Pierce, but I do think at their apexes, when they both were their best, if you compare their best 3 scoring years, you'll find out Vince Carter was a better scorer than Paul Pierce at those apexes. Now, when he got injured, Paul Pierce was really in his prime and only played maybe 2 years outside of really being a 1, 2, or 3 option. And Vince, we saw the last 3, 4, 5 years, he was just a spot-up shooter. So if I had to pick him, I'm going to pick Pierce if I'm constructing that team that already has some pieces where I can win the championship. Yeah. But if I just needed one star to start the team with, I'm taking Vince Carter.
Andres, you had a quick comment?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, Kevin Garnett was the best player in that finals, not Pierce.
Oh my God! I thought you told me it was Ray Allen. Now you're switching it.
They were both better than Paul Pierce.
But do we need to call Ray Jarvis in on this one?
No, hold on. I'm going to get to that later. Don't worry, Mac. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Go ahead, Andres.
Piggyback on what Mike was saying, I think that people love to create the narrative that Paul Pierce beat LeBron and the Celtics beat LeBron and stuff. But I don't think people realize that Paul Pierce was a great rival for LeBron. He was one of the best. He brought it to him in that Game 7 in 2008. He dropped 41, I think it was, Carl?
41, yes.
41. So people like to nowadays let's rank LeBron's 3 best opponents. And they throw Paul Pierce out the window like those series never happened. And people failed to realize that when Paul Pierce played LeBron, especially in that 08 series, he was like, all right, so let's go to work. And LeBron was very inefficient in the first 3 or 4 or 5 games. He was inefficient in the series. But when you discuss Paul Pierce and him playing against the greats, you got to put LeBron in there because he was better than LeBron the whole series. So to ignore that is bogus.
True. Fact.
If you're going to talk about the Celtics beating LeBron James, talk about Paul Pierce bringing it to LeBron in Game 7. So if you're going to rank LeBron's opponents all time, there's no way Paul Pierce isn't a top 3 rival. Because every single time they played, it was much CTE.
But hold on,
Simple as that.
I have to interject a little bit, Andres, because it's a great argument. But just to play devil's advocate, when it's one person, I know the Cavs had all-stars and they had players. When that weight is on you, we saw the difference in LeBron in the Cleveland years and the Miami years. So if we're talking, and I wish I could have seen it, I'm serious. I wish I could have seen prime Heatles versus prime Celtics. All those guys was in their years, because then I think it's a better comparison of stars head to head, because LeBron had to carry so much of the load. You get to that fourth quarter, you're mentally, physically beaten down. You got nobody else.
What year are we talking about?
I'm talking about the 08 year when they won the chip.
08? Okay.
When the Boston
he wasn't talking about 2010.
That Game 7 was magical.
I hope it wasn't 2011 either.
No. But guys, to get the conversation back to Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, Paul Pierce, Dirk Nowitzki, Shaquille O'Neal, Ray Allen, T-Mac, Tim Duncan, Vince Carter. That was the time post-Jordan, pre-LeBron, Kobe Bryant, late great.
Yeah.
Where does Vince fall in that? Does he fall in the top or the bottom of that superstar? Because there was a collective.
Oh, you named like 50. You named 50 people, and you think we all memorized 50?
Okay, let me say it again. Okay, but again. But listen, just remember from 1990.
Sneak in Stephon Marbury. No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
Listen, guys.
I heard you, man.
Guys, listen. From the time Jordan retired from the Chicago Bulls to 03, so that's 1999 to 03. During that gap, there was no one-figure face of the NBA. I like to say there's a collective effort. So you look at Allen Iverson, Paul Pierce, Dirk Nowitzki, Shaquille O'Neal, Ray Allen, Tim Duncan. Then you have Tracy McGrady, you have Vince Carter, you have Kevin Garnett. Where does he rank during those in those?
You put Kobe in, right? You said
Kobe and Kobe.
There's only one person he ranks higher than, really.
No,
it's only one person.
From
it's
Jordan
only one person.
in 90. Jordan retires 97, 96,
98.
98, excuse me.
98.
Jordan retires 98, 03. Paul Pierce ain't even in this conversation then.
No,
Paul Pierce don't really
he's not.
start cooking till after 03.
Okay, fair.
So Paul
So,
Pierce ain't even in
so
this.
does that mean Dirk is out of the conversation too?
Dirk wasn't really starting to go crazy until after that either.
Okay, so then he's out.
A lot of these people ain't even in it. If you just going from 98 to 03, Dirk doesn't really hit his big, but he wins his MVP, I think, 06, 07.
I got five guys.
Yeah, and he should have won MVP.
Go ahead,
he could have
Coach.
won MVP in 05.
Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan,
Definitely.
Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett is above him. Kobe's above
He
him.
won MVP and win. 04?
04. Yeah.
Those are my five. And I
You're
think
missing
you can argue Ray Allen.
You're missing Shaquille O'Neal. You're missing Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay,
Sorry, that's six. That's it.
So then, Mac, you had AI,
Tim
Kobe.
Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Kobe, Shaquille O'Neal, and
Ray Allen, you putting over Vince?
No, Ray Allen and him. No, Ray Allen's not
That's
over.
neck and neck.
I don't know.
How is that neck and I don't know. How is that? I'm just asking a fair question,
Vince
Mike.
made it to the Eastern Conference Finals against AI. Like
He didn't. He didn't.
That's 01.
The Bucks
did. Ray Allen did.
Okay,
Ray Allen.
Right. So that's the second round. That's the second round.
Right,
Okay.
but Ray Allen did though on the Bucks.
Yeah, you're right. Because then they play my paces.
He had big dogs.
We know
Big
what happened.
dogs,
They play my
Robinson.
paces.
Listen, if we're evaluating, okay, so here's the new question: Vince Carter or Ray Allen? Prime Ray Allen or Vince Carter?
Vince.
No, it's not as easy as you think it is, Mike.
For me,
it's
Vince.
not, no, it's not that. Listen,
For me,
I
said for me.
Ray, for you, why?
I'm biased. I'm gonna keep it real. No, I'm gonna keep it real because it's because of the feelings I have when everybody started going crazy when he broke my man record. But if we just doing it in a vacuum, we talk about Milwaukee Ray Allen, Seattle Ray Allen,
Yes.
and
Vince, yes,
Ray Allen, yo.
Nah, but yo,
Seattle Ray Allen was.
Again, Ray Allen had that team was tough.
Rashard Lewis, like.
Come on, that
the
was
Bucks
a
team
tough
was crazy too. Tim Thomas, Glenn
No.
Like,
If you look at the stats, Ray Allen was 10 steps above everyone else on that team.
no, but they had a squad though. Big
But they had a
Dog
good
was
team.
But he
Tim
was
Thomas
the
they had a
best.
squad.
But he was the best player on the floor.
What was Big Dog's numbers? Look it up. We going
What was
look it up.
Big
Stats.
Dog?
What was Big Dog's numbers?
Big Dog was getting numbers. Tim Thomas was getting numbers. Like they had a
But
squad.
listen. Aside from teammates, who are you taking though? That's where the debate lies.
You're right.
So
You
aside
changed
from
my
this-
mind, Carl.
Probably
You
Ray
beat-
Allen.
You
Taking
bullied
Vince
me
Carter-
into saying it's even. You bullied me.
I didn't bully you. I asked you a fair
You bullied me.
question.
You bullied me.
All
You
right, so
bullied
that
me.
means he's sixth on that list, or at least seventh, though, because you put 5 players above him, right?
He's
If
in
you're-
the lower
six.
tier, absolutely.
so
I'm
he's-
with Mac's list.
Yo,
Yeah, I think that's a fair list.
2001, Big Dog was getting 22-7, man.
Talk to me. Come on, Mac.
22
talk
and
to
7,
me, baby.
man.
Come on, Mac. I knew
22
Big
and
Dog was killing.
7.
Come on, talk to me. Come on. How much was Ray Allen
Listen.
averaging that year? That's 2001.
That's 2000.
2000-2001, man.
How much was Ray
22
Allen
and
averaging?
7, 82% from the free throw line, close to 50% from the field.
Who? That was
37
Big
from
Dog?
3. That's Big Dog.
Big
Oh,
dog.
baby. I know. Missing numbers, man.
Look at
Big
Stop
Dog.
it, man. We know numbers too.
Mr. Numbers, they call you out,
too,
bro.
man.
They
We
call
know
you out,
numbers too,
Mr.
baby.
Numbers.
We
They
do
call
this
you out,
missing
Mr.
numbers.
Numbers.
Listen, he got some
Let's
secret.
look at the
He got some
playoff stats,
secret
though.
app. He got some
Let's
secret
look at the
app.
playoff stats, though.
Now we pushing the
playoff
goalposts back. Now we pushing
No,
the goalposts
yeah,
back.
right.
No,
No,
we're
change the
not.
narrative now. No, change the narrative now. Nah, we ain't doing that.
No. I'm
So
talking about
again,
2001
okay.
in the playoffs.
But so again,
Okay, all right.
back to that question. Now that I asked you among those players, where are we ranking Vince all time? Because
He's seventh. He's seventh on that list to me. Seventh.
on
you
that
talking
list,
about
but all time, where does Vince fall? Does he fall
Oh,
in
What you mean
the
all
greatest?
time, man?
all time,
you
the
got-
greatest? Where does he
name
fall?
50 people, Carl.
Oh,
What you
he's not even
asking,
Listen. We
What?
have to talk about. Listen, if we're talking about
Let's
greatest of all time,
How about
Let's
position, Carl? How about position?
Yeah,
okay.
let's
Well,
ask-
you see,
let's ask
that's a
Vince
tricky.
Carter.
You know what? That's a tricky question because a lot of people say Vince is a 2, but then I kind of see
He's
him as
a
a
2.
3.
He played
He was
the
not a
two.
He played
3.
the 2. He
He
played the 2.
the
No.
two.
He played the
Majority
3
of
though.
his career.
He played the 3, didn't he?
But majority of
Played
his
the
career
3
in the prime,
in
he
his
was a
later
2.
years.
He was a
a
2.
two,
So
absolutely.
where does he rank?
He was a
Okay,
2
fine.
in,
10th.
Fine. So where
best.
does he rank as a 2 guard all time? If we're gonna go that route,
9th or 10th. 9th or 10th.
Jordan, Kobe,
Wade.
AI.
Wade.
I'm not arguing AI, and I'm saying with that, Dwayne Wade. Come on, stop. Like
Ray
Dwayne
Allen,
Wade's not
Ray
better
Allen.
than AI. Stop it.
Ray Allen.
Ray
Clyde
Allen.
No.
Get at your feeling. Get at your
Yeah,
feelings,
Ray
man.
Allen's
Come
better
on.
than him all time.
Ray Allen's better than him. You just said he was better.
Oh, Ray Allen's better. Ray Allen's better than Vince all time. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. All time.
Clyde Drexler.
Okay. Reggie.
Clyde Drexler.
Clyde
Joe
Drexler.
Dumars.
Clyde,
Joe
Reggie.
Dumars.
Reggie.
Joe
Are you sure about
Don't
that,
do that.
Reggie?
No, that's disrespectful. No, stop. Don't
James
do that.
Harden.
Don't
James
do that
Harden.
to me.
Okay.
You're a Knicks fan. You better show better respect than that. You know better than that. Stop
Okay.
that.
What?
Okay.
For
Okay.
what?
Okay. Fine. Joe Dumars.
Joe Dumars.
No. Reggie?
No.
Joe
Wait, I'm
Dumars
not
is
going
not
in
better
order.
than Reggie.
No, I'm not
No,
going in
no,
order.
no, we're talking about
Vince
Vince
We're not going in order. Okay.
James-
We're not going in
Okay.
order.
So
No.
we got 7. No, we got 8.
James
then.
Harden.
If we count Reggie,
James Harden.
Reggie's better
James
than
Harden.
Vince.
James Harden. Here
James-
comes Andres with James Harden.
Dag.
Yeah.
He's better.
man.
He's
Yeah.
better.
No. I'm saying Dag like Vince don't. Vince
Vince
probably
ain't
don't
top.
top 10.
He's not top
He's
10 in the shooting guard.
Like I said, Vince is 10th.
No. We can keep going if we James
Jerry
Harden,
West.
whatever.
Jerry
Jerry
West.
Jerry
West.
West.
West is a
Definitely.
point guard.
Get outta here.
Jerry West is a
But
point
I
guard.
count Jerry West as a point guard though. So that's just me.
The
I
point
count
guard,
Jerry West as a
100%.
point guard.
All right, I count him as a wing. My fault.
So
He's
how
a-
many
he's
we
a-
at,
he's a
Andre?
point
So we
guard.
had 9 and 10.
Oh, right, because they didn't have
We're at-
positions
we're
then,
at
so
9
he
and
was just a
10.
wing.
Right. And
Is he
then comes
10?
Carter at 11.
Absolutely, 100%.
Some
That
gonna
sounds
say
about right.
some gonna say T-Mac was better than him. I would say T-Mac.
It's two different positions, though. It's two different positions, though.
Wait, T-Mac was a
small
2.
forward.
No,
T-Mac
T-Mac
he was
played,
a three.
T-Mac played the 2.
He played the 2. He didn't play the
Because
2.
Grant
He
Hill
played
was
the
going to
2.
play the 3. T-Mac played the 2. It was all of them.
Okay,
They were
so
both.
look,
Everyone
listen,
was a hybrid. Everyone was a hybrid.
Listen, we have MJ. Hold on, wait. We have MJ1, Kobe,
Kobe,
AI,
AI,
Wade,
whatever, man.
2020, man.
Dumars.
Come on, get out your feelings.
AI,
Reggie,
AI,
James
Reggie,
Harden,
Dumars,
Clyde
Drexler.
Drexler.
Who else?
James Harden,
Harden.
Allen Iverson. Did you
Yep.
put Allen
T-Mac.
Iverson?
Yeah.
You,
T-Mac,
Ray Allen, Ray Allen.
Ray
Ray
Allen,
Allen, T-Mac.
T-Mac. T-Mac was
T-Mac.
a better player. Vince
Yeah.
probably
T-Mac
has
is-
longevity.
Jerry
but
West. 1, 2, 3, 4,
For the
5.
sake of
he's
the
a point
argument,
guard.
I would put him as a point
Hold
guard,
on.
but
See, hold
Okay.
on. This is what. Hold on, Carl. I'm sorry. I gotta stop this. This is where this position. We gotta call them wings, because
that's true.
2 and
'Cause
3
Jerry
is
West was a
2.
wing.
Because you got. I just looked up. Some people consider George Gerwin a shooting guard.
That's true.
The Iceman. They got him as a shooting guard.
So Ziggs
we
is
got-
coming in. Yeah.
Oh, your guy, but Bernard King.
Bernard King. Like
Bernard
people
King
put him.
better than Vince. So
Oh,
that's
Vince
a
Carter
two
not
right
top
there.
20, B.
Okay.
Vince
Okay.
Carter
So
not
listen.
top 20. I'm
So
sorry.
listen.
He not
I
top
have.
20. Nah, when we start thinking about this thing, he ain't
Listen,
he can't
listen,
be
guys,
in, bro.
listen,
He
guys,
can't
listen.
be- He ain't in.
Guys, listen. We
He
got
can't
3
be
minutes
in
left.
this, right?
Listen. We got 3 minutes left. So I
Hold
have
on. Is
MJ.
wrestling next? No.
No.
Wrestling next.
No, we're done. We're
Okay.
done after this. Okay, so we have
Oh,
MJ.
Because
MJ.
you're not finishing up with no wrestling, bro.
No, I gave us a half hour today. Half hour
All
today.
right, cool.
All right.
Don't
I
let
got
no
you.
wrestling come
I
after
made
me. That's
Okay.
disrespectful.
Hold on. I
Give me
got
a
one
match.
more. You could argue with me. You could argue this with me. Manu Ginobili. You could argue.
I was about to
That's
say
the
it.
name I was thinking, Mac. That's the name I was thinking. That was
So
the name I was
100%.
thinking.
Okay,
You know-
listen.
you know-
so
that
here's
was the
the
name I was
right.
thinking.
Guys, listen.
Wow.
We have MJ.
I didn't want to say it because I be hating on Ginobili,
One,
but
two,
that's the
three,
name
four,
I was
five,
thinking.
six, seven,
I didn't want to say
eight,
it.
nine,
But
12.
I know
So
it's
listen,
better
we
than
have
dunking in
12.
the playoffs.
We have 12 people above Vince. We have MJ, Kobe, AI, Wade, Dumars, Reggie, Drexler, Harden, Ray Allen, T-Mac, West, and Manu. That's 12 people you guys are putting above Carter. That's
Bernard
what I'm
King.
saying. Huh?
Bernard King.
Bernard King. That's
Bernard
13
King is
now.
definitely
The
better.
snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com. The snow is melting and it's starting to
Is
warm.
this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Remember the best summer of your life spent eating Arby's pecan chicken salad sandwich? It's so fresh in your memory. You can still taste the sliced grapes, diced apples, slivered pecans, and roast chicken. You can still taste the better fresh lettuce on honey wheat bread. You can still taste every single bite. Because Arby's pecan chicken salad sandwich is back. Arby's, we have the meat.
At participating Arby's for a limited time.
Hey, it's Gerald from Lakers Fast Break. Anchor is the easiest way to make your next podcast. It's absolutely free, and their creation tools will allow you to record and edit your show right from your phone or your home computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on great podcast outlets like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started on your next podcast. All right, and we're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you get a chance, please give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, not only for our shows, but also the shows that my guest, our frequent guest, one of our most welcome guests here at the Lakers Fast Break. If you can go ahead and 5-star not only our shows, but his shows, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, like, subscribe, and please, if there's an NBA fan in your life, tell them about all the things that are going on with his shows coming up that I'm going to tell you about, but also ours as well here at the Lakers Fast Break. It is that time. The teams are heading out to Orlando this week. In fact, when this drops on the airwaves in the podcast form, some of the teams will have landed in Orlando. I know the folks in Toronto already know that the Toronto Raptors have been in Florida for quite some time, but there will be some teams heading out to Orlando. Actually, we'll be dropping there the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, in that area. So if you get a chance, go ahead and start keeping an eye out on what's going on with your team, whether it's the Lakers or another team that you have in mind. Just go ahead and be aware that they're heading out to Orlando. They'll be flying. They'll be landing in over the next few days. So the bubble will commence after some testing and things of that nature. So I'm expecting a few more coronavirus positives. That's what I'm guessing anyways. But there is a lot to talk about when it concerns the bubble itself, the scrimmage schedule, a second bubble in Chicago possibly, and more coming up here on today's show. And here to break it down with me again is a good man indeed. You got to follow what he and Joe Gomez are doing today at NBA Draft Junkies. That's NBA Draft Junkies on YouTube. He's got over 11,000 subscribers, and he needs more. Well, we all need more subscribers in life, but he needs more because he's got a lot of great videos that are there. I mean, just a lot of great content. If you're an NBA fan, you got to head over to NBA Draft Junkies on YouTube, which I'm showing to our video audience right now. Plus also his great site where he and Joe Gomez works on a lot of great things there as well, NBADraftJunkies.com, and I'm showing that to you right now, including mock drafts and so much more. It is my good friend indeed. It is Rafael Barlow. And Rafael, thanks for coming back on. I want to ask you this, my friend. Tell us, really, when you go to Twitter and you see @Barlow500, tell us what you truly think about Scottie Pippen's hair. You know I got to get you on something. You got to get you on something.
You caught me on guard with that one.
I tried to. I'm going to tell you right now, I tried to. Ever since the bicycling and, I hear about his adventures, I try to see if I can take one aspect of his life and try to not throw it at him per se, but just try to throw him off a little bit. I like to bring a smile to your face.
Yeah, you got me good on that one. I was cracking up when I saw Scottie Pippen, who's at least 54 years old, with cornrows or braids or whatever the preference name is, but he just looks hilarious to me. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting to see him. And then he had on sunglasses in the house at that. That's what made it so funny. But, I mean, I guess if you're 54 or 52, however old Scottie is, and you have a strong hairline and you still have, you're able to grow braids, then I guess you might as well show off.
I'm a little bit envious because I'm 51, and as you can see, my hairline is not so strong. But it's going to be a great time indeed, my friend, always when you're on the show. Before we go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty as far as all the stuff we want to talk about when it comes to the bubble, because they're about to enter the bubble. And, in fact, when this drops on Wednesday to the RTF Sports Network, the Discover Community Network, and, of course, all those podcast outlets, they will have already dropped for the most part. Most teams will have dropped by then. I want to go ahead and hear what's going on first off with NBA Draft Junkies. Is there any updates that you need to give the people out there right now?
Yeah, just been watching film. The newest thing I have is it'll be a podcast and also a video. I did an interview, a Zoom conference call interview with Yves Ponce, the small forward out of Tennessee. Right now he's 50-50 on whether he's going to stay in the draft. But it was my first time actually doing an interview with a draft prospect. And so I thought it went really well. I'm just going through the editing part of it now. And then since I plan to add some video to it for YouTube. So that should be up before this podcast hits the airwaves.
Oh, sweet. Are they going to find it on the NBA Draft Junkies channel? Is that correct?
Yeah, I put it on the channel. And then maybe sometime this week, I don't want to mention the names because I don't want to, it's not locked in stone yet, but I should have a couple international prospects that will do some Zoom interviews. So I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully I can just continue to add different content to the site as far as interviews. And then I have another My GM video that should be coming up pretty soon. So it's pretty much the same, just working and, got to update all the social media stuff and update the website and try to watch more film. So it's been keeping me pretty busy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can imagine it's keeping you busy. And the access, hopefully, that you will get going forward to some of these draft prospects and to get inside the mind of what they're thinking. Like you said, one of them is 50-50 or on the fence because of the fact that, there is always that uncertainty, even though that you have these teams wink, 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 trying to give you the heads up whether or not they're going to draft you or not. It's still not a sure thing. Sometimes some of these draft picks have to decide whether or not they want to commit or risk possibly not even being drafted in the NBA.
Yeah, especially this year where it's a little bit more difficult because there won't be any workouts. Well, it doesn't look like there will be an opportunity for guys to work out and I'm saying, like, kind of make a name for themselves in workouts. So I think that's going to hurt some guys, and it may help some guys also because they, whatever team may have a guy on their list, it's going to be based off of what they saw in the regular season as opposed to getting to see the player up close. So, like I said, some guys may benefit from it, and some guys may be hurt by it.
Thank you again for taking the time to speak to me, and I'm looking forward to hearing those conversations that you're going to have with some of these draft prospects going forward. I also want to hear, if you get a chance, and this is just a personal request from someone who does listen to your stuff and is so enamored with what you're doing at NBA Draft Junkies, and you have spanned the globe. I mean, sometimes when I talk to you and you talk about all the various places you go to, I think I have like Jim McKay in the back of my mind talking about the wide world of sports, spanning the globe from, and I just, because all the wonderful places you have been to watch this game has just been tremendous. But yeah, it's just, I wanted to get, any type of deeper insight into your evaluation of players is always something that I find fascinating, because as someone who truly lives the game of basketball and evaluates these players nonstop, it's just fascinating to hear everything, your process, the way you approach it, the way you evaluate these players. And now that you have Joe Gomez working with you on that, it's just awesome to see how you're bringing him into that process, and he's trying to go ahead and provide his insight as well.
Like I said, that was the plan when I first started the site, because I want to say I wanted to find a way to break in myself years ago. And this was before really like the whole draft Twitter and there was these platforms, but I just didn't know how. And so Joe is someone who I've been friends with on Facebook for a few years now. And he's always, kind of been talking about the draft. And so he said he wanted to get involved, and I had him send me like the scouting report, and he sent it to me as if I were like a major employer. I mean, just sent it, broke everything down. And then I thought, okay, well, he knows what he's talking about. I don't have a major following, but I do have somewhat of a platform. It's a lot harder to get started and start from scratch. And so for the people that, may not want to start from scratch, but just still want a platform, I hope that I can provide that. So Joe's the first. And then there's, I don't know if you've seen it on my Twitter, there's a young guy out of Turkey, Kuzey Kilic. Man, I really like working with this guy. I don't want to keep calling him a kid, even though he's a teenager. But he works so hard, and he's able to, he's able to score some pretty big interviews. And he does his scouting reports in 2 different languages. And so, I mean, you know how the time it takes for you, like, just to do your draft board and to watch the film. And he's been doing that, and then he'll do his report, but he'll write it in English, and then he'll write it in Turkish. So I really admire, like, his work ethic. And so he's going to be working with me on NBA Draft Junkies. And so it will help him get a little bit more exposure in the States. And then it'll also help NBA Draft Junkies get some exposure overseas. So I think it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Sounds like it indeed. So if you want to get that better perspective on the NBA draft prospects and everything that's coming up in the NBA draft, no better place to go than NBA Draft Junkies. And I'll tell you what, Raphael, I wish you continued success, and anything I can do to help. I'm always always willing to chip in as well, just because you've done so much for this show. It's the least I can do for yours as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have you on as a guest. I mean, I've just been thinking of different ways to be creative as far as just adding content. So what I would like to do is for, like there's guys on Twitter, like they have their favorite team and they just talk about their team all the time. So what I want to do is find guys from all 30 teams and invite them on as a guest. And we'll talk about the draft prospects for the team, their team, and who they like, who they should draft. And so I haven't told you yet, but I'll say it live on the air. The Lakers will be the first one. And then you will be on the clock as the general manager of the Lakers. And you'll have to break down and tell me who you would choose if you were Rob Pelinka. So I think that could be fun and creative, and it just allows, it allows myself to interview different people, get different perspectives, and then I also think that strategy is probably good for growth on both ends.
Pick a clutch client?
I haven't seen their full draft class. I don't think Tyrese Maxey will be available or Anthony Edwards. I don't think they'll be available when the Lakers are choosing. So it looks like you might be off the hook for that one.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate that. Just want to make sure. But yes, I accept the challenge, and anytime you can have me on, I just truly appreciate it. And again, just for all the things you've done here, it goes both ways. Anything you need from us here at the Lakers Fast Break and myself, just let us know.
No, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Like I said, you got me into the podcasting. It was something that I wanted to do, and it was something in the back of my head I knew I needed to get started. I said, I'll start tomorrow. Oh, that's my goal for this week. But then just coming on as a regular guest here, I was like, man, I've fallen in love with it. And so, like I say, anytime you ask me to be a guest on the show, if it's 3 days a week, 4 or 5, I'll make time.
We might just have to go to that as it gets closer to the playoffs, my friend. You never know. But there's a lot to talk about. Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully next year in Las Vegas, we can do the Lakers Fast Break live during Summer League.
I would love that opportunity. I hope so. I hope, God willing, I hope health willing, I'm hoping coronavirus willing, that we'll be able to go ahead and meet up and do that, because as you and I both have experienced Summer League, it's an experience unlike anything else. So that's probably the best way to say it, especially for basketball fans. I mean, if you're a basketball fan and you ever get to come down to Las Vegas for Summer League, when everything is back up and running for Summer League in the way it was intended, like you and I both have experienced, it's a basketball lover's dream.
Well, my theory, Lonzo Ball ruined Summer League. So it used to be, everyone was accessible. You could meet different people. And it was more like it's good for the NBA that it has grown to the levels where it's at now. But I feel like before 2017, it was just the real diehard fans that outside of the Laker fans, whenever the Lakers played, the arena would be full.
Well, Zion this past year. Zion,
yeah. Like I think Lonzo took it to one level, and then Zion took it to the next. And I went. So I think I went last year. I was actually in Greece the first few days, and I flew from Greece to Las Vegas for Summer League. So I actually watched the first Zion game. I don't know, it was probably like 3:00 in the morning there. And then I ended up flying there, but it was packed. I wasn't able to have a credential, so I had tickets for like, I don't know, they're like $40 or something like that. Now I remember when they were like $17 or
for the whole day.
Yeah, and you could sit in a whole row, stretch your legs out. You could go grab something to eat and come back. Your seat is still there. Now it's totally different, and so
there'd be coaches and GMs just like scattered.
Sitting there, yeah. I remember 2012. The Blazers played the Pelicans on the main court in the Thomas and Mack. I sat on the first row next to, maybe he was a couple seats down, from Neil O'Shea and Terry Stotts. And it was Lillard's first game, and it was against Austin Rivers. And then, I think Paul Allen was, a couple seats down. So those experiences, you won't get those anymore, because now the players are ushered to like the first couple rows and, their security. But before that, guys would just be sitting in the stands between the games. So like I said, it's good for the NBA that Summer League has grown. I can't imagine they never envisioned it being as big as it was, as big as it is now. They probably make so much money off of it now. So it's good for the game, but I feel like from the aspect of networking and accessibility, it's a lot tougher now than it has been previous to 2017.
We're getting all the teams together because, as you know, it was like Salt Lake,
Orlando.
Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was scattered.
Yeah, well, the main one was in Orlando, and then they had the smaller ones like the Rocky Mountain Review. I think they even had a smaller one in Denver also.
Okay. So, then they now all combined into one, and I think that makes the most sense. It just seems more enjoyable that way. I'm here in Las Vegas. It's easy for me to say, but it just seemed like for the fans also as well, they were able to catch more games of the teams that they wanted to see. It's kind of hard or the difficult times or difficult access because the NBA wasn't going as far as they were televising some of the games in Orlando. They weren't televising much in Salt Lake City. They weren't televising much anywhere else, but it was always Las Vegas that they would go ahead and centralize. And now you have access to all those teams and all those games. It's good. I mean, you still have, when it comes to if you went last year, even in Zion, if you went to like a game between, let's say, Cleveland and New York, not New York, Cleveland and Indiana during the summer, you still would find that half empty or a quarter full, side. It would be at the Cox Pavilion, the side arena, and you would see it empty. So you get still some of that taste of that empty arena type deal, but for the most part, like you said, it was packed gyms, and especially with a highlighted player that you see on the billboards in the weeks beforehand. Mm-hmm. You see who's going to be there and who's going to commit. So the hype machine is real, and I'm glad for the NBA. But you're right; those days that you and I have experienced, where you would literally just $15 the whole day, all games, walk right in. And I've actually sat like you next to coaches and general manager and players just sitting there, and I just leave them alone. I don't talk to them. I don't ask for autographs. I'm not an autographed guy per se. And just I just want to hear what they have to say. That's more interesting to me is their conversations about and evaluations of players even back then. So I hear you, man. I hear you.
Have you had the luxury, I don't know his name, sitting next to the guy, he's there every year with the Lakers jersey on, and he has the long socks pulled up to his knees, and he does play-by-play? Have you,
I've seen him, but I've not heard his play-by-play.
So I've sat next to him a couple of times. The first time it was irritating, but he does color and play-by-play in two different voices the entire game, and he's like having these full conversations with himself. And it is, I think that he's special needs. And so I think that every year someone, kind of brings him there. Yeah. But he stays to himself, but he sits there. And like I said, the first time he sat next to me, I was like, this is so annoying. But then the more and more, like, as the game went on, it's like he's really like two different people at once. He's like, did you see that, Bob? And, it's just amazing how his mind operates. So I feel like, with the growth of Summer League, I don't get a chance to see him or sit by him as often as I used to. But he would be there all day long, and I'm like, man, does he even get tired? No water breaks. He would literally just game, and go on. And he knew the players. He knew the stats. And he's someone that I've talked about on Twitter with a couple of agents and some fans. I would love to get his information and just have him tell his story one day because it's so interesting.
That would be awesome to hear. And he's not even, to my knowledge, like you said, because I have seen him. Mm-hmm. And now that it's like, oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Lakers jersey, no T-shirt underneath, every year, every day.
But he's not doing this over social media. He's just right there.
Just right there at the game, yep.
Yeah, that would be awesome to hear his story and why he loves doing it so much. So, yeah, I would love to get a chance. Maybe if you and I are able to go ahead and meet up in Las Vegas, we can go ahead and search him out and be able to talk to him. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think anybody that has been going to Summer League for years would, like I said, you knew who I was talking about immediately, would probably be interested in hearing his story.
Absolutely, because you have hardcore fans like that. Obviously, the Lakers being so close to Los Angeles, and that's the reason why, here in town, we always say you can't bet on the Lakers. You'll never get the real odds on the Lakers because always so much money is put on them. In fact, it's gone from the Lakers starting out in second as far as the odds are to being moved up to the first just because so much money and action has been put on the Lakers. I know ESPN's BBI says different, but, hey, I'm not here to say either which way. We already talked about that with Laker Tom on those odds and whatnot. We're signaling the ref for a quick timeout, but we'll be back with more of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
I see the potential for basically like another Netflix kind of paradigm shift where here comes this other major player. They have a ton of resources. Apple could change the way that entertainment is consumed.
They say it's the only time this year that you'll have stars from each brand battling each other, and we know it's not going to be the case, but they like to say that, and more power to them, I guess.
Well, it's a big first step, bringing all those superheroes together. There were definitely some parts of the movie that I really enjoyed, and then there were some parts that I thought just kind of fell short of expectation.
Part of it has to be something to do with how it's being promoted, and this is a thing where audiences do not agree with critics.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse, every week on Apple Podcasts.
And over a dozen of your favorite streaming and podcasting options. They are heading to Orlando this week, my friend. And I want to know if you were in as far as either as a player or as part of the coaching staff or part of the, 37? Is it 35 or 37 staff personnel?
I think I've seen both. I don't know.
I've seen both. That's why I'm asking. I
don't know if it started off at 35 and it went to 37 or the other way around, but I don't know the exact number.
Or the whole contingent that's going there. Let's say you're part of that. What do you think would that process for you would be like? Because Malika Andrews, like you noted to me of ESPN, she's already there quarantining, and you're going there, and you're part of that, the contingent that's there. And for the Lakers, Lionel Hollins, assistant coach, has said he is not going to attend due to previous health restrictions and concerns that obviously would come about should he get the virus. I want to hear your thoughts as far as how would you approach that mindset if you were heading down there, whether, like I said, as a player, a coach, or any part of the contingent down there as far as, let's say, for the Lakers or any other NBA team for that matter.
How would I handle it? I think I'd be okay with it. I'm not the type of person that always has to be out in different groups, and I'm fine with isolation. But I think there may be some people that will have issues with it.
Cabin fever, I think, will run high here in the month of maybe late August.
Yeah. Well, the part that I would struggle with is, and how long has Malika been there? Is it like 4 days?
4 days. I know she talked about it. Yeah, I know she was on the Hoops Collective this week, and I also know she was on the Woj Pod as well, talking about the quarantining process beforehand, and she said when that episode drops, which is Monday when we're taping this, that she would be able to go ahead now and get out of the quarantine period. So yeah, it's about a 4 to 5 day period, I believe.
So I
test every day, and you get the nasal tests in each nose. I think what she said, at least the first time she gets.
See, I guess I knew a little bit of how it was supposed to go because I have a friend that is playing in China, and his was 14 days. And he was locked in his room for 14 days. I don't even think his door could open from the inside. And the way that she described it on the Hoop Collective podcast was very similar to what he said. They dropped the food off 3 times a day. And I doubt if he had the food options that she mentioned because he was in China. So,
I will just say that.
Yeah. So when he got out, I guess the person that worked for the team came in, got him out. It was almost like he was being released from being incarcerated. And he was so happy to take his first step outside of that, outside of the hotel room. But he was there 14 days. And he said that he was doing wind sprints in the room. And so even when when I heard the Hoop Collective podcast, when they were talking about the producer she's doing like her 5K, it was all similar to what a friend of mine was saying when he was in China. So I remember checking on him every couple of days, like, you all right? How are you holding up there? So I know it's tough. China's was very strict. And then I've been seeing in different leagues across the world that they had their own version of the bubble. A couple of the players in Israel have been fined and suspended for breaking the bubble, going out. And then the TBT, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that this weekend. Their bubble is interesting because if you lose, you don't get the chance to go back to the hotel. You have to have your bags packed, and teams have been eliminated from the tournament because a player has tested positive. So I think I would be okay if I were in the NBA bubble, but it may depend. It may depend on how my team is expected to play. If you're the Suns, then you probably, you may think, oh, it's going to be like 2 weeks. But if you're the Lakers or the Bucks or, a team that has championship aspirations, you have to be mentally prepared to be in this bubble until September. That's
around there, if I'm not mistaken. What, late September? Or is it October?
Well, yeah, it might be October for the finals because I know the draft is the 17th, I believe.
Yeah, I think it might be early October.
But my fear is that, like Summer League. Like I've been going to Summer League every year for maybe like the past 10 years, but I've never stayed past like day 5.
Because it drags. I hear you. It drags.
Yeah, it drags, and then they even tried to add the tournament to kind of spice it up. But at that point, I don't even think that really holds a lot of weight anymore because the best players aren't really playing anymore, and guys are just ready to go. And I even feel like when I'm, seeing all my friends, everybody's gone by then. And it seems like that last weekend or whatever, I don't know, maybe Vegas locals. So I wonder, is there going to be a similar effect with, like with in the playoffs? Because if a team is down 2-0, I wonder, are they going to say, hey, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get out of this bubble. So I wonder how that is going to affect some of the people who are going to struggle with being in isolation and not having their freedoms that they're used to.
Sort of like if, let's say, the Bucks plays whoever is going to fall in the 8th place, whether it's Brooklyn, Orlando, or Washington, any of those 3 teams, and they're down 2-0. You're saying just like, and let's say it's Washington, Bradley Beal. If you manage to keep him playing throughout, he would be sat down, or you think he might come up with the old hamstring pull for the last 2 games or anything like that? I think he'd play. I think he would, but simply because Washington has a chance now
with the whole situation with the Nets.
Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, the Phoenix has the hardest road there. They have the least likely scenario because they've got the most teams to pass, and they don't have necessarily the most ground to make up. Actually, they do have the most ground to make up, and they have the most teams to pass. So, yeah, I see them very quickly shutting down Ayton and Booker.
I think Booker would like to play simply because you don't get a chance to really see him on TV a lot. And so I think for Phoenix and Booker, maybe even Ayton, this would be an opportunity to really be on national TV because how often do you see the Suns on TNT or ESPN? The last time I could think of is when they paired Ayton versus Luka and that whole thing. But I don't remember. Well, I was in China this year.
Both of those games I bet you're going to go on NBA TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they'll definitely be on NBA TV. But even then, you don't see the Suns a lot on NBA TV anyway. So I think for some guys, it may be an opportunity to just get out and play. But Booker seems like a guy that just likes to play, period.
So he's a really good kid, and his game is improving. I mean, he goes under the radar there in Phoenix for a lot of people, but they don't see the development that you and I see because, yeah, he can shoot. Yeah, he can score. We know that. But coming into the season, he needed to do more as far as all-around playmaking skills, and I believe he's taken a great step towards that. I mean, his assists, defense, rebounding, I see a better all-around player. I see him, I don't know if it's with Phoenix or somewhere else. I know in New York, you keep talking about the Knicks and the Knicks fans saying, oh, please. But I really see him as someone who could break out in the next 2 to 3 years. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think As a player, he's broken out. It's just a matter of them putting together some wins so it doesn't look like empty calories. Because, he kind of, for those that don't really pay attention to the NBA closely, but they know about him, they have him in his box as a shooter. And I think that's because of the Klay Thompson comparisons early in his career. And I think that's more so because they have, they may look alike. But he is a complete offensive player. I mean, he can play pick and rolls. They play him a lot at point guard. He's very talented, and he's so young. I mean, I think he's like 23 or 24, and it seems like he's in his like 5th year already. Just shows how young he was as a rookie. But I don't think the national audience has really had an opportunity to see him. You just see his box scores. So that's why I say for him, this may be an opportunity to be on TV.
I hope so, because he is a really good player. Anytime, especially people like you and I that want to evaluate players continuously, get a chance to see what he does, because he does some really good things on the court. And like I said, he's still very young, so he still has a lot of maturing and growing up still to do as a player. And I see good things going ahead, provided he stays healthy. And if Phoenix can keep him, that's the bigger question, I think, going forward. If not, he could really become an outstanding player, more so than he is now. I mean, he's a fringe all-star. Sometimes he's on all-star teams, sometimes not, because people hold back what he does because of the overall record, because of Phoenix. But I think he's right there on the cusp of really some really, really great things. And either as a number 1 or a number 1A on a team, I think he can really do some special things going forward.
Yeah, Phoenix, they have their cornerstones with Ayton and Booker. Now it's just a matter of finding the right complementary pieces to, just to be around them. I saw interesting, I don't know if I saw it, I thought of it on my own. Can't remember. But Buddy Hield he'll be 28 when the season starts. Next year. If it starts.
Are you sure? Are you sure? When it comes to Buddy Hield, you're never quite sure.
Well, on paper, if the season starts December 1st, I think Buddy Hield will be 28 and he'll be in the first year of his max contract. Devin Booker will be like 23, maybe 24 in like the second year of his max contract. Well, Buddy Hield didn't sign the max. I'm sorry, but he'll be in the second year of his he'll be in the first year of his second contract, while Booker may be halfway done with his second contract, and he's like at the minimum 4 years younger. Just shows the difference in age as far as when they enter the league.
That's true. There was quite a difference, and I know there was also an issue about his paperwork and things of that nature. In the end, actually ended up being a year older than what he was actually originally listed as. So
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Okay. But he's a great shooter. Buddy Hield fits a niche for Sacramento, or could fit a niche for a lot of other teams, because I understand now that he's coming off the bench and he's been able to thrive in that position. I think going forward, if he continues his good shooting, that's something that will translate through his contract. If he can go ahead, do you see him as a player staying that 6-man type role? Do you see him on another team? Because that's the question, I think, with a lot of people is, do the Sacramento Kings, can they afford to keep him as a 6-man, or do they want to go ahead and trade him for assets and have him be a contributor somewhere else?
I think that's tough to say, simply because as the season abruptly ended, Sacramento was one of the hottest teams in the league, and it seems like they were successful with bringing him off the bench. Now, if I remember correctly, he wasn't happy with that role.
At first, he wasn't.
Yeah, and so, but they were winning, and then I think a lot of, with Fox being healthy, played a big role. And them getting off to a slow start earlier this year. And then, Bagley's missed a lot of time. So it depends. If they're winning and they're competitive, and I think they're being, I think people are counting them out. this year in the playoffs. I think they have a chance, to fight for the 8th seed and make it to the playoffs. Not a great chance, but I still think there's an opportunity if they can keep up the momentum that they had and if they're healthy. I also think because they're young, they're going to be hungry. And but yeah, if they're winning, then I don't know if he really has an option to fight for a starting spot. But then it also depends on what they'll do with Bogdanovich this summer.
I mean, Sacramento's exactly. So Sacramento's one of those teams in the mix at 3.5 games out, but they're the team that nobody talks about. They talk about Portland. They talk about, well, the NBA likes to talk about the Pelicans, and we know why. But nobody is talking about Sacramento. How ironic would it be if Sacramento is the one of those three that pulls out and matches up against Memphis as far as in that 2-game playoffs per se?
I would not be shocked at all, just because, like you said, no one is talking about them. So I think they're coming in with an extra chip on their shoulder. I think Portland is going to struggle without Ariza. I think they have too many 4s and 5s, and I don't think their roster is totally balanced out, especially with Rodney Hood not playing. And then, I mean, Memphis, on paper, they just don't look like they should be where they are. That's probably the easiest team to forget, that they are actually in the 8th spot, and it doesn't seem like anyone is expecting them to hold on. New Orleans, I'm sure that's what the NBA wants. I mean, Zion, LeBron, first round would, especially with nothing else on TV as far as sports, would definitely be big for the NBA. It will allow them to promote Zion even more, and of course LeBron. So it's so with saying all that, I could definitely see Sacramento and even Memphis having this chip on their shoulders and coming out playing hard, because both teams are young and both teams don't really play on TV, and this is an opportunity for those guys to kind of make a name for themselves.
Well, it definitely is something to think about as we go forward, because the games will be starting here in, well, when we're recording this, a little over 3 weeks' time, my friend. It's counting down. It's counting down. But before they go ahead and start the games as of July 30th, there are going to be some interesting things set up as far as scrimmages are concerned. I know you got a chance to take a look at the scrimmage setup and scrimmage schedule per se. I do not know if these scrimmages are going to be televised or if any of them are a select few, or I don't think that's been publicized. I know the NBA put it out there as far as the schedule is concerned, and I see that. You can catch that just on the NBA's Twitter right there, and Cham Sharania and Adrian Wojnarowski, they both have it as well. You see the list right here if you're watching on screen. But I want to ask you, my friend, if this scrimmage setup is great. Again, I don't know if it's being televised, but seeing it, and you're obviously becoming aware of it when it was released the other day, what are your thoughts on the way that they structured this scrimmage setup going forward?
Interesting to say the least. I get why they're scrimmaging, but I can't see the players really being too interested in the scrimmage. I think some guys may want to do it just to get loose, but I think guys are just going to be ready to just get the season started and just kind of get the ball rolling. But that's just my opinion. I'm not one of the players, and I actually haven't talked to anybody about it. But I imagine, like, if it were me, I just want to get this thing started as soon as possible.
And I don't blame them for that. That's obviously the case. I wouldn't, if I'm going to say this, it would be nice if they televised it. I would only televise maybe a couple, 2 or 3, 4 at best. I would not televise the entirety of it, because it's not something, these guys, like you said, how seriously are they going to take it? Are they going to go ahead and meet up with the challenge of it? Is the coaching staff going to go ahead and put out the star players, or for how long, until they break a sweat and sit them down? How seriously are these teams going to take these scrimmages? I'm not so sure. So, like you said, it's just a matter of are they going to get into shape? I think that's all what they're supposed to be doing with these scrimmages. So you don't know exactly how seriously they're going to take. So will it be good television? I'm not entirely sure. I would just take sample highlights and then send them out, and there you go. But I think that's what ultimately the NBA is going to do, because if they had already intended on showing them off, or at least the majority, or at least even some, they would have told you already.
Yeah, if I were in charge, I would make it like, remember NBA TV would have the real training camp where you have the guys, the commentators live, and they're playing a little bit in the background and you can hear like the instructions going on. I would structure it like that as opposed to just all out showing the scrimmage, because it's going to be some bad basketball. I mean, I've actually had a chance to watch like a first day of an NBA training camp, and it is really bad basketball because guys just, some guys have been playing, but you just can't simulate basketball shape. No matter how hard you work out, you can run hills, you can ride bikes, some guys choose not to play during the summer. They just work out or do drills, and they don't really play 5-on-5. And so, it's a lot different when somebody's bumping you. You got to come off a screen, or you're actually defending somebody because you're not really playing defense in your workouts. So the basketball is pretty bad until everybody, kind of gets in their rhythm. And I imagine that's what these scrimmages are going to look like, because I imagine guys have been working out, but I doubt if most of the players have actually been playing 5-on-5. And it kind of reminds me, I do some skills training, and I trained this kid last week. And, we've been going to the gym, working out at 7 o'clock in the morning, getting up tons of shots. And then I found a place where he can go play 5-on-5. And the next day, the first thing he says is, man, my legs are killing me from playing defense because, those muscles haven't been used. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, these scrimmages are going to be bad because guys definitely haven't been playing defense.
This is true, my friend. This is all too true. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that going forward, as far as a lot of aches and pains, soreness, and things of that nature here in the next few weeks. It's not going to be pretty basketball early on, I don't think, even when it comes to the actual regular season is concerned. But still, it'll be nice to have NBA back in some form or fashion, even if it's not the prettiest thing you see. And I think you've probably heard Chris Middleton say he hasn't even picked up a ball. And that for him is really important to keep in a rhythm as a shooter, because that's his main claim to fame, is being a shooter. And to hear him say he hadn't even picked up a ball is because he was interviewed as saying that's kind of concerning. Although, again, you still have about 3 weeks to go ahead and get back into form.
Well, if I were his agent, or if I were anyone that worked for the Bucks, I would be like, why would you say that? Simply because if he's in a shooting slump, if he shoots 42% from the field and 30% from three, and the Bucks don't have this championship run that's expected, he's going to get a lot of blame for that, because Giannis is working out. He found a way. LeBron found a way. And we've heard about these scrimmages at the.
Yeah, I saw LeBron. He looks in absolutely awful shape, just terrible shape.
Yeah. But you've heard the rumors that they've been playing. Like the Lakers have been playing together at the. I can't confirm it, but I've heard from Twitter sources that they've been playing. And
Laker Tom from LakerHolics.net said the same exact thing, so I checked it out, and yeah, the rumors are very strong, I should say.
Yeah, and so I think he just puts himself in position to get blame and a lot of criticism, even though if he was playing it safe, if he hadn't been going to a gym for health reasons, it's legitimate. But I don't think the fans are going to say, especially if, he's not playing well, are going to say, well, the reason why he shot bad is because he didn't shoot because he was, being safe. I think once the game starts going, fans are going to be fans. And I just think he set himself up to be criticized.
I believe that's correct. It'd be interesting to see. Those statistics, and they're going to be popping out there after like 5-6 games of the season. Who is shooting well coming out of the break and going into it. What were they shooting? You're going to see all these comparison charts and things of that nature. Oh, he was doing so great before and now he's not, or now he's doing so great and he wasn't doing before. And you're going to see all of that, and they're going to hear all these analysts. You're going to hear all these pundits trying to go ahead and analyze why or why not that's the case. So be prepared for that, everyone out there, because in the month of August, you're going to hear a lot of that. Oh, yeah, he's struggling because of this, or he's really doing well and prospering because of this scenario. It's just, you get ready for all that, because you're going to hear a lot of that going forward.
And I also think that another reason why I think that he made a mistake in saying that is because even though Giannis still has another year left on his contract, this is an important season for them and him signing a long-term deal. And if he feels like he doesn't have teammates that are working as hard as him, it could be an opportunity for him to, test the waters and see if there's another opportunity that's best for him as far as free agency. So I just think if Middleton, if he hadn't touched the ball, that's fine. But to come out and say it when you know that everybody's going to have their eyes on the Bucks and have their eyes on Giannis, if he's going to sign this extension this summer, I think you have to try to make sure that you're avoiding putting yourself in headline situations where people can say, well, Middleton wasn't working out during the break, and is Giannis going to be happy with, So, I mean, imagine if it were the Lakers situation. And Anthony Davis
is revisited.
Exactly. Or even if it was like current Anthony Davis says, I haven't touched the ball all summer. Well, or I mean, if LeBron was a free agent coming up and Anthony Davis says, I haven't touched the ball at all during this break, that would be a major story all over ESPN, especially if there was a drop-off in play.
I hear you, and that's absolutely something that would be out there if that was the case. But fortunately, they're bike riding buddies, and I always see them together, so that's a good thing for Lakers fans. So I know that there's been some changeover on personnel. I know Avery Bradley out, J.R. Smith in, so there's a little bit of question to that, but no one can fault the work ethic right now for Lakers fans out there, for AD and LeBron, because it looks like they're ready as they head into the bubble coming up this week, and just looking forward to it. I know a lot of NBA fans are as well. We'll be back with more of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Needing an edge for your fantasy football team? Listen to the guys at Inside Sports Fantasy Football for insight that will help you reach your league championship. That's Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Check it out today on your favorite podcast outlet. But there was more teams actually wanting to have their own bubble. I want my bubble too. I want my bubble too. And before we head on out, I want to go ahead and mention that Jackie Mullen from ESPN recently reported that the league is trying to set up a second bubble because, they haven't spent enough money on the first bubble. They're going to spend some more money on a second bubble in Chicago. So I want to hear your thoughts on that. I'm not as high on it. I understand the development of the young talent and the things of that nature they're going to get as far as the development that they will have in the 10 to 15 games or in the month or 2 months that they're going to spend there. But as a package or something that fans want to see, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case, because are you going to see a Trae Young? Are you going to see a Stephen Curry? Are you going to see a Klay Thompson, Draymond Green? Are you going to see the actual players people want to see to make that second bubble financially feasible? Or is it like going to be a glorified summer league like you and I have been talking about for the past hour? Is it going to be just something like if we were going ahead and walking into the Thomas Mack or the Cox Pavilion in Las Vegas?
See, what I got out of that is the league wants the players in a controlled environment. So that's the only thing I can think of. To me, it doesn't make sense as far as anything but making sure that the players are around their teams, working out at a team facility. Like we keep talking about the the Hoop Collective podcast that they feel like it's a safer environment for the guys to be in that bubble than outside the bubble. And I think that's the main reason. If you get, if I'm the Hawks or if I'm the Warriors, I think with the Warriors, they have, veteran players, so they're probably going to be a little smarter. But if I had a young team and guys were spread out all over the country and living in, the cool cities like Atlanta or Chicago, or even just, like staying in LA, I think I would prefer, if I'm the general manager, the owner for a team, I would prefer the second bubble, just so I know where my players are working out at and, who they're working out with, and just kind of protecting them from themselves. And so, like I said, I think that's the only reason why it would make sense, especially hearing like how, Serge Ibaka has raved about the situation with Toronto, how the camaraderie is there, and Toronto hasn't even had any cases that we know of. And so it sounds like them going to their early bubble, at this point, it sounds like it's been beneficial. So, like I said, I think some teams that would be their reason for it.
Well, I want to ask you this. Do you think, is this going to lead, or is this giving you the impression that the league may actually consider a next season bubble for next season?
I think they should look into it. It doesn't seem like, the coronavirus cases are going to be slowing down anytime soon. I know they're, everything is kind of motivated by money. So I know they would love to be able to get fans in the arenas and generate the money from ticket sales and parking and merchandise and all that. But I think they definitely have to consider it, because at one point we thought the numbers would decrease with heat, and as summer went on, which we found out has been totally false. It's been the exact opposite. And then, I imagine the league is probably not going to start until late December. In my opinion, there's no way they can stay with that December 1st date. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But I think probably Christmas will probably be a better day. At least that gives you another 24, 25 days before the season starts. I don't think anybody knows that at this point. But I do think I don't think there'll be any fans at games next year.
I would say that's the case, or at least in most arenas next year, at least for the foreseeable future, until we start getting some vaccines and things that's going to be able to see some clear signs of this being successfully fought at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't think there's going to be any real crowds either until we see this thing kind of get into a better direction.
Yeah, because even if they have a vaccine, how can you determine who got the vaccine? There are some people who are just totally anti-vaccine, and they would not take one even if it were available. Kind of like the flu shot. There's people who will not get a flu shot. And so, and then, imagine for safety reasons, it makes sense, but imagine the lines outside the arena if you have to do a temperature check to get into the arena. And then imagine if, the person that spent $5,000 on a courtside Lakers Warriors seat, and they have a fever and they're not allowed to go into the arena. Imagine just someone having a fit and a tantrum over that, which is all stuff that the league is going to have to consider. Once fans are allowed to come back to games anyway.
That's true. A lot of things to consider indeed. Once again, I'm speaking to my good friend, Rafael Barlow from NBA Draft Junkies. You got to check out what he's doing today, not only on NBA Draft Junkies, like I'm showing our video audience right now on YouTube, but also as well NBADraftJunkies.com. His great stuff that he's got going on there with all his mock drafts, evaluation of players, and so much more. It's the place to go for NBA and also NBA draft prospects. It is NBA Draft Junkies. And before we head on out, got a couple minutes left to talk what's going on with NBA Draft Junkies and what you and Joe Gomez have got cooking up right away.
Yeah, the next video that we're going to do is we're going to give our top 10 small forwards. Hopefully we can get that done this week. And then, like I mentioned, I have an interview coming out with Eve Ponce, the draft prospect from Tennessee. That should be online once this episode airs. And yeah, just some more podcasting. So thank you for getting me heavily involved in this.
I don't know if you'll be thanking me 6 or 10 months from now, but okay.
No, I'll definitely be thanking you because, like, you inspired me to do it. And so just being a guest on your show 2 or 3 times a week has made me realize how much I enjoy talking about basketball. So, yeah, I'll definitely always give you the credit for getting me involved in this.
Well, I truly appreciate it. It's been awesome having you on the show continuously as a regular guest, and I feel you're just as part of the show as I am when it comes to Lakers Fast Break, so I cannot thank you enough. I do want to make a correction from the Laker Tom episode before we head on out. We recorded the episode, and I mentioned Nick Cordero, the actor, Broadway actor who was suffering from coronavirus and who'd been hospitalized for months. Unfortunately, he passed away shortly after we finished the taping, so our thoughts go out and condolences go out to his wife and his family for that. Truly outstanding Broadway actor, unfortunately passed away from us all too soon from the effects of the coronavirus. And he was battling for a long time and unfortunately was not able to win that battle. But again, I just want to go ahead and our heartfelt apologies and condolences to him, his family, and everybody from all of us here at the Lakers Fast Break. If you have any questions for us, at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, or if you do the standard email type stuff still, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. This man right here has got always an interesting Twitter. If he's not talking about bike rides or the NBA draft, or there's a whole bunch of stuff else he's talking about, at Barlow500, including Scottie Pippen's hair. And there's so much more that he talks about, so please follow him at Barlow500 or at NBA Draft Junkies. A lot of great stuff going on there. Always here at the Lakers Fast Break as well, and we cannot thank you enough. Please like our shows, subscribe, whatever you can do to support our shows, the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, NBA Draft Junkies, all of our podcasts, anything you can do to help us out, we truly appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, Raphael, I'm going to get you on here soon as some more news comes up from the NBA, as more of it comes down the pike. I want to hear your thoughts continuously on this because I so truly appreciate everything you do for us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Behind every company, there's a time-tested engine keeping it moving. After earning his master's in accounting degree online from Grand Canyon University, Isaac's helping drive his client's business forward by identifying efficiencies and building business models. He's become a core team member, keeping clients on budget and ensuring their success. What do you think accounting careers look like? GCU offers over 175 high-quality online programs like this one. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Visit gcu.edu.
It's about trust, service, safety. The things that have always been at the center of everything we do. It's why at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, our certified technicians complete over 270 hours of training. It's why we provide quality service that's rated 4.6 out of 5 stars. And it's why you never have to leave the safety of your car. So when it's time for a change, we'll be right here, just like we've always been. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at RTFSportsNetwork.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that. What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that. What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me
Guys,
off?
calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that. What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me
off?
Guys,
calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com. The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Do you want to get inside the mind of Matt Benz, co-host of Twist, the weekend sports talk? Well, tune in to Benzy's Bit to find out what he really thinks about sports and life on the one and only RTF Sports Network.
Are you at home trying to figure out how to get your kids ready for another year of school? Don't worry, Strikeout Beer's got you covered. We're educational.
JETS, Jets.
We won 2 world wars without stretching.
Kids, if you have any questions, just refer to Urban Dictionary.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, rtfsportsnetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
That guy. You know who I'm going to subscribe to? I'm going to subscribe to that guy.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Are you tired of sports shows that ask the same old boring questions?
You want to talk about Kareem Hunt?
Then check out Strikeout Beer. They're not scared to ask those hard-hitting questions.
Well, what do the 65 Browns do without music? Can I say balls? Did you poison me?
Does it slide on? Does it twist on? You don't know.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, rtfsportsnetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
You thought you knew On and Off the Field before. Now, it's better than ever and in the spotlight.
Now airing on the RTF Sports Network live on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And new episodes airing Fridays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Head over to onoffthefield.com for all the information.
You know you found the right show when it ends with All Hail the Jockstrap King.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Finally, I have my own show to speak my mind about sports, and not have those two idiot co-hosts from Twist cut me off all the time. Green Bay Greg is the show to hear on the one and only RTF Sports Network.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
I wonder what I'll do now that I don't have to share the stage with my co-host from Twist, the weekend sports talk. Whatever I want. Tune in to Mike on the Mic for a fresh take on sports and life on the RTF Sports Network.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Life as a dad is pretty awesome. Whether you're watching the kids walk for the first time or watching them support your favorite team, it's an adventure literally of a lifetime.
If this sounds like you'll want to check out our podcast, Dad's Watching Sports. On our weekly show, we talk the biggest news in sports, but also about our lives as dads of young kids.
So check us out on the RTF Sports Network Mondays at 10 a.m. Central, and you can download our show anytime on the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts. And check out our YouTube channel for the video version of the show. Just search Dad's Watching Sports.
Those Weekend Golf Guys is the golf podcast for people who think golf podcasts are boring. Oh, sure, all the others are boring. We're not. You should check us out right here, 5 o'clock, Monday night. RTF Sports Network, the network of champions. You play golf now, you play better golf. You don't play golf, you're going to want to play golf. You get bored easy? Not with us. Those Weekend Golf Guys, 5 p.m., RTF Sports Network. Check us out Monday night, 5 p.m. Monday night at 5. RTF Sports Network.
This is Jesse from the Infinity Sports Podcast.
And this is Sully.
Make sure to download the latest episode.
You can find the Infinity Sports Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere podcasts exist.
This is Wayne G., host of the Infinity Sports Podcast, the best and most entertaining sports show in the country. Listen live every Thursday at 11 a.m. only on the RTF Sports Network. If you aren't already listening to us,
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
I wonder what I'll do now that I don't have to share the stage with my co-host from Twist, the Week in Sports Talk. Whatever I want. Tune in to Mike on the Mic for a fresh take on sports and life on the RTF Sports Network.
Those Weekend Golf Guys is the golf podcast for people who think golf podcasts are boring. Oh, sure, all the others are boring. We're not. You should check us out right here, 5 o'clock, Monday night. RTF Sports Network, the network of champions. You play golf now, you play better golf. You don't play golf, you're going to want to play golf. You get bored easy? Not with us. Those Weekend Golf Guys, 5 p.m., RTF Sports Network. Check us out Monday night, 5 p.m. Monday night at 5. RTF Sports Network.
This is Jesse from the Infinity Sports Podcast.
And this is Sully.
Make sure to download the latest episode.
You can find the Infinity Sports Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere podcasts exist.
This is Wayne G., host of the Infinity Sports Podcast, the best and most entertaining sports show in the country. Listen live every Thursday at 11 a.m. only on the RTF Sports Network. If you aren't already listening to us,
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
You thought you knew on and off the field before. Now, it's better than ever and in the spotlight.
Now airing on the RTF Sports Network live on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And new episodes airing Fridays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Head over to onoffthefield.com for all the information.
You know you found the right show when it ends with All Hail the Jockstrap King.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Life as a dad is pretty awesome. Whether you're watching the kids walk for the first time or watching them support your favorite team, it's an adventure literally of a lifetime.
If this sounds like you'll want to check out our podcast, Dad's Watching Sports. On our weekly show, we talk the biggest news in sports, but also about our lives as dads of young kids.
So check us out on the RTF Sports Network Mondays at 10 a.m. Central, and you can download our show anytime on the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts. And check out our YouTube channel for the video version of the show. Just search Dad's Watching Sports.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Are you tired of sports shows that ask the same old boring questions?
You want to talk about Kareem Hunt?
Then check out Strikeout Beer. They're not scared to ask those hard-hitting questions. Well, what do the 65 Browns do without music?
Can I say balls? Did you poison me?
Does it slide on? Does it twist on? You don't know.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, RTFSportsNetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcast.
Do you want to get inside the mind of Matt Benz, co-host of Twist, the weekend sports talk? Well, tune in to Benzy's Bit to find out what he really thinks about sports and life on the one and only RTF Sports Network.
Are you tired of sports shows that ask the same old boring questions?
You want to talk about Kareem Hunt?
Then check out Strikeout Beer. They're not scared to ask those hard-hitting questions. Well, what do the 65 Browns do without music?
Can I say balls? Did you poison me?
Does it slide on? Does it twist on? You don't know.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, RTFSportsNetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcast.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Are you tired of sports shows that ask the same old boring questions?
You want to talk about Kareem Hunt?
Then check out Strikeout Beer. They're not scared to ask those hard-hitting questions. Well, what do the 65 Browns do without music?
Can I say balls? Did you poison me?
Does it slide on? Does it twist on? You don't know.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, RTFSportsNetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcast. Are you tired of sports shows that ask the same old boring questions?
You want to talk about Kareem Hunt?
Then check out Strikeout Beer. They're not scared to ask those hard-hitting questions. Well, what do the 65 Browns do without music?
Can I say balls? Did you poison me?
Does it slide on? Does it twist on? You don't know.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, RTFSportsNetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcast.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Life as a dad is pretty awesome. Whether you're watching the kids walk for the first time or watching them support your favorite team, it's an adventure literally of a lifetime.
If this sounds like you'll want to check out our podcast, Dad's Watching Sports. On our weekly show, we talk the biggest news in sports, but also about our lives as dads of young kids.
So check us out on the RTF Sports Network Mondays at 10 a.m. Central, and you can download our show anytime on the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts. And check out our YouTube channel for the video version of the show. Just search Dad's Watching Sports.
I wonder what I'll do now that I don't have to share the stage with my co-host from Twist, the Week in Sports Talk. Whatever I want. Tune in to Mike on the Mic for a fresh take on sports and life on the RTF Sports Network.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
This is Jesse from the Infinity Sports Podcast.
And this is Sully.
Make sure to download the latest episode.
You can find the Infinity Sports Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere podcasts exist.
This is Wayne G., host of the Infinity Sports Podcast, the best and most entertaining sports show in the country. Listen live every Thursday at 11 a.m. only on the RTF Sports Network. If you aren't already listening to us,
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
You thought you knew On and Off the Field before. Now, it's better than ever and in the spotlight.
Now airing on the RTF Sports Network live on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And new episodes airing Fridays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Head over to onoffthefield.com for all the information.
You know you found the right show when it ends with All Hail the Jockstrap King.
Finally, I have my own show to speak my mind about sports, and not have those two idiot co-hosts from Twist cut me off all the time. Green Bay Greg is the show to hear on the one and only RTF Sports Network.
Do you want to get inside the mind of Matt Benz, co-host of Twist, the Week in Sports Talk? Well, tune in to Benzy's Bit to find out what he really thinks about sports and life on the one and only RTF Sports Network.
Life as a dad is pretty awesome. Whether you're watching the kids walk for the first time or watching them support your favorite team, it's an adventure literally of a lifetime.
If this sounds like you'll want to check out our podcast, Dad's Watching Sports. On our weekly show, we talk the biggest news in sports, but also about our lives as dads of young kids.
So check us out on the RTF Sports Network Mondays at 10 a.m. Central, and you can download our show anytime on the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts. And check out our YouTube channel for the video version of the show. Just search Dad's Watching Sports.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
Those Weekend Golf Guys is the golf podcast for people who think golf podcasts are boring. Oh, sure, all the others are boring. We're not. You should check us out right here, 5 o'clock, Monday night. RTF Sports Network, the network of champions. You play golf now, you play better golf. You don't play golf, you're going to want to play golf. You get bored easy? Not with us. Those Weekend Golf Guys, 5 p.m., RTF Sports Network. Check us out Monday night, 5 p.m. Monday night at 5, RTF Sports Network.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
I wonder what I'll do now that I don't have to share the stage with my co-host from Twist, the weekend sports talk. Whatever I want. Tune in to Mike on the Mic for a fresh take on sports and life on the RTF Sports Network.
You want sports talk? We got your sports talk.
I like soccer.
You ready for your Cody Bellinger fun fact of the week?
Connor Cook can sling it. We're Strikeout Beer, and no one takes sports more seriously than us.
Yeah, I'm a bandwagoner.
Pickle!
I am FIFA Dave.
Check out Strikeout Beer live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, RTFSportsNetwork.com, and catch the replay anywhere you listen to your podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Those Weekend Golf Guys is the golf podcast for people who think golf podcasts are boring. Oh, sure, all the others are boring. We're not. You should check us out right here, 5 o'clock, Monday night. RTF Sports Network, the network of champions. You play golf now, you play better golf. You don't play golf, you're going to want to play golf. You get bored easy? Not with us. Those Weekend Golf Guys, 5 p.m., RTF Sports Network. Check us out Monday night, 5 p.m. Monday night at 5. RTF Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
This is Jesse from the Infinity Sports Podcast.
And this is Sully.
Make sure to download the latest episode.
You can find the Infinity Sports Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere podcasts exist.
This is Wayne G., host of the Infinity Sports Podcast, the best and most entertaining sports show in the country. Listen live every Thursday at 11 a.m. only on the RTF Sports Network. If you aren't already listening to us,
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
What's up, folks? This is Johnny O'Neill, host of the Heirs of the Dog Show on RTFSportsNetwork.com. The very first veteran-hosted podcast covering everything combat sports, some old war stories, and plenty of shenanigans. Subscribe to our Instagram and Facebook at The Heirs of the Dog. Also, catch us live every Monday at 6 and Thursday at 8. Only on RTFSportsNetwork.com.
It's the Heirs of the Dog, baby!
You want sports talk? We got your sports talk.
I like soccer.
You ready for your Cody Bellinger fun fact of the week?
Connor Cook can sling it.
We're